freaking serious?
Well, hiya, buddy.
We were coming off of the most emotional game of the season. Back to back, going to Boston to play you guys. Our best player injured by a complete asshat, and the league just fined me $250,000 for being right, and you still kick the shit out of us?
Yeah, I guess so.
Why would you do that?
Well, to show my respect.
Low quality fans of a high quality Bruins team, that is a dub! Yeah! Welcome back. That is a Bruins beatdown 4-0 over the New York Rangers. And I have the Rangers on the wall right now to show a little bit of respect, even though the thing I just said probably wasn't super respectful. Before we can really talk about this game, we have to talk about the condition that both of the teams are coming into this game with. The Bruins are coming into this game under pretty normal circumstances. They're a little banged up in some spots, but they're getting healthier on the back end. Everything's good. Swayman gets a start. Carlo and Miller will both be in the lineup. They both looked very good. Our defense, we're going to get into that. Really excited about how we're looking back there. Coyle, day-to-day with an upper body after taking that shot high from Carlo. Coyle was surprisingly missed. As I know he hasn't been as advertised this year, but him not being in the lineup, like, you noticed it. You substantially noticed it. So hopefully he gets healthy soon. I mean, it's not like he was very much needed, but you do kind of miss what he brings to the game. But more importantly, our New York friends here were coming in under dire circumstances. They have been eliminated from the playoff race. This much we know. And this season has not lived up to expectations for them if you're a Rangers fan. Most of the other people in the division went, they're probably the first team out. They're probably not quite ready to compete in a division that was supposed to have 6 teams that were good, and then 2 teams that weren't at that level but weren't supposed to be absolute dog shit. The Rangers, on Monday night, they played the Washington Capitals and ended up with a very controversial moment in which Tom Wilson, he was hitting Buchnevich when he was down, then he flipped Panarin. None of that was suspended. He was fined $5,000. The Rangers organization then responded in kind with a response we've already been over. That response was given a $250,000 fine by the league. We all expected that. Then they come into Wednesday's game with the Capitals. And as puck drops, 3 fights start. There's 4 fights in the first minute. The first period has 100 penalty minutes combined between the teams. The whole game was a shit show. There is a feel-good moment. Oshie, obviously, do it for coach, gets his hat trick. That's awesome. The Capitals ended up beating the Rangers. The Rangers stood up for themselves, which it kind of... Look, the whole reason I think they deserve respect is the organization made a stance and then people got fired and all of it turned into a shit show. But the players made a stance. And they made a agreement clearly before the game. They went, we're going to turn this into a shit show. If the league is not going to protect us, then we are going to, let's be honest, kind of ruin their games, because that hockey game kind of sucked as far as the hockey goes. The entertainment value was way up. But they responded. They went, it's fine, it's not about hockey then. Fuck this team, we're going to come out and fight. And they lost most of their fights. The Capitals kind of beat the shit out of them, and most of them, in my opinion. But they stood up for themselves. And that was very emotionally draining, emotionally taxing. It was a hard physical game. And then 24 hours later, they have to play the Boston Bruins. This game didn't mean anything to the Rangers. And it shouldn't have. And you want to talk about professionalism, showing up any given night, all that kind of stuff, throw it out for this one. The Rangers should not have been competitive in this game. And let's be honest, they really weren't. They didn't lie down, they didn't take shifts off, but for them, with their depleted talent level because of the injuries they're facing, and with the emotionally taxing game before, for them to come out and compete with us, they had to go the extra mile. And it just wasn't, they just didn't. And that's fine. But I think they deserve some respect. I know there's some people that are laughing at the organization right now. That's fine too. But look, at the end of the day, if you look at the human element of it all, those players got each other's back in that locker room. And Buchnevich, obviously gets suspended for the cross-check on Mantha during that second bout with the Capitals, which he deserved. Rangers fans, I know you're all looking at this going, what the fuck? But he cross-checked a guy in the mouth. You can't do that. Two wrongs don't make a right. This does open up a very bad scenario for playoff teams playing against the Capitals. And I don't know if the player safety is going to look at it this way, but there's one of two things that's likely to happen. Say we play the Capitals in round one, or any team does. It doesn't have to be the Bruins. But say we do. And say, I don't know, McAvoy lays Wilson out. Just a tough, borderline hit, right? Does the league take a stance of, holy shit, we now have to protect the Capitals from the situation we put them in because we didn't suspend Tom Wilson? Because I don't think any of this happens if they just suspend him for a couple games. But do they now overreact and assume there's motivation behind playing the Capitals tough? And do we end up with an over-cautious approach from the NHL player safety bullshit in which they suspend anyone who touches a Capital in a borderline way? Now again, Buchnevich deserved that cross-checking suspension. It was to Mantha's mouth. But there is a scenario where the league now protects the Capitals thinking there's motivation, no matter who's playing them, behind these hits. That's speculation, okay? It's something that look, we analyze this stuff to death. It's something that I'm going to stay up at night about thinking about because I'm dumb. Or the league does the opposite. And they go, okay, we can't really suspend anything moving forward because we are going to get crucified in the social media space for it. I highly doubt they're going to take that approach, but it's there. Puck drops and 6 minutes in and it's slow, but it's all us. And we keep careening down on them over and over and over again. They can't clear the puck out. We're buzzing. I'm surprised to see so much motivation from us in this game, honestly. It looked like we really wanted this one. At that 6 minute mark, the top line does what the top line does. They get into the offensive zone and they start cycling. It's almost a minute of zone time. And eventually, the Rangers break down. That is what we can do when there's puck retrievals. This is what we didn't see during that whole slump, is we couldn't stay in the zone for an extended amount of time. It was either a transition chance and then back the other way, or we just never got in the zone at all. When you can retrieve the puck in the offensive zone, and when you can use that high-low game freely, eventually, even if it's 5-on-5, the defense breaks down. Obviously, the best time to get that defensive lapse is during a puck retrieval. Bergey's on the right wall. He is in a fight for the puck. Gets it, wins the fight, and has a nifty little pass to Marchand, who's on the right side of the slot. Marchand will fake inside, and it shifts the entire defense. 4 players. Boom. Just a foot of space. It allows Marchand to make a move down to the net. He goes right side. He realizes he doesn't have the angle, continues around, puts on the brakes, flings back over to the right side, feeds Bergey, who has repositioned himself in the slot, and Bergey fires it top blocker, pinpoint accuracy. And that's 1-0 from the top dogs. That will be your game-winning goal. Did I spoil it? I spoiled it. Now, a minute later, Jakey will draw a penalty. He makes a nice move to get around a defender, but gets high-sticked. We do not do anything with that power play, but with about 4 minutes left in the period, Jakey DeBrusk will again draw a penalty. He was all over the ice, and he was making a lot of second effort plays. I mean, night and day. He is building his game, and he got inserted into the third line because Coyle's out. Man, I'm just so happy that he's looking better. I'm so happy about it. Because again, we mentioned this, the top 2 lines looking great. If Coyle is healthy and buzzing, if DeBrusk is healthy and buzzing, all of a sudden our bottom 6 starts to get kind of interesting too. So he draws that second penalty. 4 minutes left of the period, and honestly, we get a little lucky. About a minute into this, Rooney takes a puck up high. Now, he is stung by this and can't get off the ice very quickly. As he works to try to get to the bench, it's basically a 5-on-3, and we capitalize. McAvoy is able to set up at the top of the slot all alone. Marchand, down behind the net, flings it up to McAvoy, who hammers this one. I mean, speed alone, you're not saving this at all. but it's a top corner shot. That is 2-0 on a power play goal. Don't see those too often these days. And that's more than we needed. End of the period, 2-0 score. The Rangers have 4 shots, none of which were challenging at all. Second period starts, and really a couple things come to mind. The Rangers have no reason to be here, and they're showing it, and DeBrusk is just looking good. And I will point out, and everyone's going to say it now, and I said it before the goal happened on Twitter. I said it before! Everyone now, Jakey DeBrusk gets a goal. Oh my god, he's so much better. He's back, all this stuff. It's not because he scored. Had he not scored a goal in this game, you still would say, wow, he's looking way better. It feels like sometimes we only measure in goals and assists, which I know are important, and it's a great measuring stick. But there are moments and there are players who you can sometimes look at and go, wow, they had a great game and they have zeros on the box score. That's okay. DeBrusk is really finding that second effort right now. DeBrusk is growing his game back, and he's feeling better. And I think he's feeling better because, A, there's very little pressure on him to actually score now, and B, he's using his teammates more. If Jakey can continue that trajectory, where it's way more about the position of his teammates than it is about him just doggedly chasing the puck, I think we're going to see him begin to grow back into that 20-goal scorer, maybe 30-goal scorer. He'll never be the 40-goal scorer that we were hoping a couple years ago, but it's fine. So yeah, it's not because he scored the goal, but let's talk about the goal. Jakey is pushing up to challenge the point. It forces the Rangers defenseman to try to feed in a direction that they didn't want to, allowing Hall to intercept the puck. Hall, as he intercepts it, notices that Krejci actually has a much better view of what's going forward, so he does a slight little push off to Krejci, who's 2 feet from him. Krejci, a beautiful indirect pass off the wall to DeBrusk, who is able to get behind the defenders of the neutral zone because he saw the opportunity for a fast break. It leads to a breakaway from him on the left side. He careens down 2 feet in front of the net and just roofs it on blocker side. Shesterkin does get a piece of this, but that's a goal. It's 3-0, and he's just so happy. Oh, his little baby face is just glowing. We love to see it, Jakey. Keep doing your thing. Out shooting them 28-7 at the end of this period, so just tough for the Rangers. 1 minute in, and we create a little bit of luck. Krejci wins the faceoff in the offensive zone. Back to Carlo on the right side. Carlo then, this is a set play, folks, flies as fast as Carlo can go, but he moves down the right wall and notices that Smith has gone to the net. Now, he tries to feed Smith, but the problem is his pass sucked. So his pass, unfortunately, just goes off the inside of Shesterkin's leg and in the net. So he gets a goal instead of an assist. What a fucking pylon. Carlo gets the goal. It's 4-0. That's your final score. Now, we do try to screw up Swayman. Of course we do. Carlo cross-checking with about $1.54 left in the game, but we kill it. Swayman gets the easiest shutout of his life. 15 saves. That's all it took, and literally 2 of them had real chance to get in. A lot of these were just in the chest. Credit to Swayman for good positioning, but no one's going to sit there and go, wow, he really fought for that shutout. But a shutout's a shutout. Good job by you, Sway. But you know Halak's watching this game just going, fuck's sake, man, what am I supposed to do? I mean, Halak could have had a shutout in this game. Really. And there was one nice glove shot that he might have missed because that glove hasn't looked great. But Halak would have had better numbers in this game, I assume, than he had against the Devils. Game notes. Not a lot to talk about. Rangers have no reason to be there. They showed it. We'll see what we get on Saturday. I have faith that they'll bring a little bit more. I'm cool if they don't either, though. DeBrusk, like I said, looked better. I'm glad to see him getting in his stride. Coyle, I missed him. I honestly missed him. So I hope he gets healthy soon. Which brings up a point. We might take the advantage of having a couple games left to rest a couple guys. Bergie comes to mind. Pasta or Marshy. I don't know if you would rest those guys. They might want to keep playing, but you have the chance to rest a few people. I know there's still an opportunity for first of the division, but it's a slim chance, it looks like. we would have to win out and get a little help with the Penguins dropping a game. Either way, I would be totally fine if they rested Bergie, if they rested McAvoy, if they just for a game to kind of be careful. So we'll see if they decide to do that. A little bit of negative. Freddie played in this game. Yes, he did. Yes, he did. We've talked a bit about Freddie, and there's something missing to his game. And I'm going to chalk it up to the rookie got in doing some crazy shit, and then the coaching staff got to him and said, hey, you can't just want to fight on every shift. You still need to play the game. And now he has no edge whatsoever. And I think rookies will do rookie things. I think he's beating himself up too much. And we'll see if he can get out of it. We don't need him for a playoff run. We don't. He's not moving the needle at all right now, though. And you can't continue to have a guy in the lineup who has zero upside. And this isn't to bash the guy, but when you think about it, every player in our lineup, no matter how much you dislike him, every player has one thing that you know that they're capable of at times. For example, we'll talk about bottom line guys because, of course, the top line guys, you can name all their upside. But you think about Corrali. Corrali has the occasional hard-driven play and the occasional wicked snipe out of nowhere. That's upside. You know that when he has the puck at times, you go, oh, maybe this is the time it happens. It's more rare than it is common, but it's upside that's there. And then you consider Cliffy. Cliffy, once in a while, will jump into the offensive play and make a really nice decision, usually resulting in a nice feed across the slot that opens up a scoring opportunity. Again, doesn't happen commonly, but it happens. Wagner, once in a while, takes a guy's head off. Just absolute brutal psychopath, gets real physical. I really enjoy that part of Wagner's game. It's not super common, but it's there. Guys have upsides in the lineup. That's just the way it works. You're not in the lineup unless you have an upside. But right now, Freddie doesn't have anything. That edge was his thing, where he would get inside players' heads and he would get in their faces and all that kind of stuff. That's not there, unfortunately. He doesn't have enough offensive upside for me to go, well, I'm waiting for that. We don't know if that's ever going to come. Defensively, he's fine, but he's not a shutdown guy. And he normally doesn't make really nice outlet plays or anything like that. So the edge was it. That was his thing. And without that, there's zero upside to him in the lineup right now. And I know that sounds so harsh, but I can't think of anything that he brings to the game right now that we can't get from the next guy up. Last point, our defense, we saw what I think is going to be our best lineups for the playoffs in this game. It started out as Mac Lauzon, Grizz Carlo, Riley, Miller. Very quickly, I think they only had one shift like that. Very quickly it changed to Grizz, Mac, which is just, oh my god, it's such a good first pairing, especially because of how much time they play with the perfection line. Woo! Their numbers are good. Riley, Carlo, which they had an 80% Corsi last night. They look really good together. And Lauzon, Miller. Those two, a solid third pairing, very competitive, very good defensively, with a little bit of offensive upside when Miller decides to join a rush. Those three lines, most teams would be jealous of. Most teams would be like, you get to roll Miller Lauzon as your third? That's awesome. Our first two are crazy good. Crazy good. Especially when you consider Riley has those defensive lapses at times and Carlo is there, man. There. All right, that does it for me. I know some of these videos are kind of like, all right, we're kind of getting ready for the playoffs. Let's go. But we're getting close. I'm so ready for it. Go Bees!